Hi y'all. The last video I did, I talked about my birth story with my second child, my NICU baby. So now today, it's only right that we do a video with my third child, my daughter, my sweet little girl, and her birth story. So her name is London Iris Rain. So first name, 2 middle names. All of our children have 2 middle names. She is currently 3 years old. Her birthday is in February 28th to be exact. So London came at 38 weeks because I had to get induced with her due to her being IUGR. If you're unfamiliar with that, IUGR is intrauterine growth restriction. Basically, that just means that she stopped growing and stopped progressing in utero. So it would be better for her to get out and be able to thrive and get the nutrients that she needs outside of the womb to continue to grow. I'd like to start this video also with saying I'm sorry for like the fan noise and background noise. It's Texas, y'all. It's hot. So there's going to be some noise from like the air and fans and things like that. So let's go back to her birth story. So my second pregnancy was a daughter who unfortunately had a birth defect that we ended up losing her due to she had anencephaly. So it is a terminal birth defect which is incompatible with life. Through that, it made it to where any pregnancy after her, I'd have to go to a maternal fetal medicine doctor, like a high risk fetal medicine or high risk OB is what I'm trying to say. So I went to this high risk OB once a week. Towards the end of my pregnancy, it was once a week, or in London's case, it was twice a week because they kept doing gross scans on her and noticing that she was on the smaller side and not growing as they would hope. So my 37-week appointment with the fetal medicine doctor, I went in for a gross scan. They noticed that she was not growing appropriately, so then we made the decision. They're like, okay, so we're gonna have to induce because at this point now she's safer on the outside than she is on the inside. So if we go ahead and induce you and get her out, then it'll be easier for her to gain weight and get the nutrients that she needs on the outside. So of course I was like, okay, well, she's fully cooked now, so that's fine, we can move forward with the induction. But obviously I was scared because I've never been induced before. I've always gone into labor spontaneously with my 2 older boys, so I didn't know what to expect for a induction. I didn't know what to expect with the IUGR baby. I didn't know how small she was going to be. I didn't know she was going to require NICU stay. My second son required a 26-day NICU stay. Granted, he was a month early, but I didn't know if my daughter was going to have respiratory issues or just basically what was to come. So I was nervous about it. But I told them, I said, okay, we'll go ahead and go through with that. So they told me that I was going to go in on the 20th of February to get induced with her. And I just like to add, I'm always right when it comes to me being pregnant. I always tell people, I'm like, no, my kids aren't going to come before their due date. My older son came at 38 weeks and a day. My second son came at 35 weeks, 6 days, and my daughter came right at 38 weeks. None of them make it to their due date. I don't know why. They just don't like being inside of mom. They just want to cuddle me on the outside. I don't know. But none of my kids make it to their due date. Even though I was a young 18-year-old mom with my oldest, he still didn't make it to his due date. Back to the story. So at my 37-week appointment, we scheduled to get induced that following Monday, which was the 28th of February, which was when I hit exactly 38 weeks. So later that week, I had to go back in to the fetal medicine doctor to get another ultrasound and also do a stress test and make sure that my body and my baby could tolerate labor, and also make sure that she was a optimal size for delivery and that she for sure was IUGR and had not grown anymore since the first ultrasound at 37 weeks. Make sure she's like still the same size, around the same size, and still warranted a need to be induced. So we went to that. Same thing, she had not had any progression from the first ultrasound to the second one. she passed her stress test, so we got all scheduled to go in on the 38th that morning. Because I had already started dilating on my own, like I said, my babies don't come on their due date. So I had already started dilating on my own. We decided that it was fine for me to go in the morning of her delivery day to start the process, rather than some moms who get induced have to go in the night before or at night and do Cervidil to try to ripen their cervix and get them to start dilating. But because I was already dilating, we could kind of skip over that step. So I went in at 5 a.m. on the 20th of February of 2023, and I walked in, I'm shaking, I don't know what to expect. My husband and I both woke up at 4 a.m. We're super excited to meet our daughter. This is our only daughter. So we were super excited, but obviously we're nervous. He doesn't know what to expect either. He's always only been like woken up to me saying, oh, my water broke, or the doctor saying, oh, you're 8 centimeters, so like spontaneous labor. He wasn't used to just going in calm and collected, not in labor yet, not in pain, nothing. So we got to the hospital, got all checked in, got my vitals taken, got an IV placed, got put on monitors, and that was all around like 6 o'clock. Come 7 o'clock, they changed nurses, so that's really when like the process started taking place. So at 7 o'clock, they're looking at my strip. They're making sure baby is not tolerating, because like we didn't start any medication yet at this point, but his baby's heart rate and everything is at optimal rate, that way we can proceed with the induction. So the first like 2 hours from 5 to 7 was just kind of getting like checked in and waiting for like shift change to really get the party started. So my husband and I, during that time, we took a nap. We were just kind of like sitting and joking around and talking about everything. Like, it was a very relaxed experience. I don't know how everyone's induction is, but mine was very relaxed, very chill. I was in there, I was vibing, I took a nap, like I said. Everything was just like kind of on my own pace, or like their pace also. So once shift change happened at 7 a.m., the nurse came in, she adjusted my monitors, made sure baby sounded good. She made sure my IV was in a good spot and it was open and flowing properly. She got some fluid started on me, and then she checked me and she said, oh, well, you're already 5 centimeters dilated. So she was like, let me make sure this is what the doctor wants to do, but I think we're just going to start you on a little bit of Pitocin just to get your body going, and then we'll just roll with that. So she goes and checks with the doctor, comes back, and she's like, yeah, we're going to start you on the lowest dose of Pitocin and see what your body does. So she pushes that through and starts it, and then sure enough, not even a little bit later, my body starts contracting on its own, and she was like, girl, you are about to go into labor. Like, your body just needs that extra little push or boost to start going into labor on its own. So she did not up my Pitocin at all after that. We just started like on the lowest dose of Pitocin, and my body knew what to do. So because my last child, I was 8 centimeters when I got to the hospital with him, and the epidural like takes about an hour to get down to you. Like, from whenever you order, it takes about an hour, and you have to finish a bag of fluids first. I told her, I said, let's go ahead and order that epidural, because I know I'm gonna want it, because ow. And so let's go ahead and get those fluids, let's go ahead and get the epidural ordered, and let's get it rocking. So by the time the anesthesiologist finally got in there to get my epidural going, I was already in pain. Like, these contractions were picking up. I think I was like 7 centimeters at this time when the anesthesiologist came in. I progressed really fast. Let me just say that I progressed really fast. My labors are very short. My longest labor was 5 hours, which is how it goes for me. So he had a student in with him to like place my epidural. I don't think the student was placing it, I think he was placing it, but he was like talking to the student about it, and I'm like hunched over a pillow, you know, curving my back, and he's like, okay, it's gonna be like a bee thing, and he's like joking around with me and stuff, and I'm like, okay guys, like, let's just get this epidural in, let's get rocking and rolling, because this is starting to hurt. Like, I can feel I'm like transitioning, so I want this epidural to work before I start pushing my baby out. So they finally get the epidural in, and I don't know why, but my epidural, like, it was weird. It numbed my legs, and I couldn't feel my legs, but like my hip area and like the side of like my butt area, I could still feel that. So any contraction I had, I felt like pressure and like cramping in like my hip, if that makes sense. Which, I mean, it was kind of good because I was able to like know when I was having a contraction because of that. So I was able to like channel my pushes into that. So it wasn't long after my epidural. Obviously the nurse was like trying to turn me and make sure it was like working in that hip, but it didn't end up working in that section. But like overall, like it was still good enough. Like I barely felt anything. And then they're like, okay, well, you're 10 centimeters, so like start pushing, and we're just gonna like practice, and then we'll call the doctor in, blah blah blah. Well, she gets me in stirrups, and she's like, oh. And I said, oh. And she said, the baby's right there, so let me call the doctor. And I was like, okay. So she calls the doctor comes in, and he thankfully lets my husband assist in delivering our daughter, which I love because my husband was able to do that with our second son, and it was just such a special moment knowing that like he was able to be the first one to like grab our child and help me in that way. Very special. I love it. And also because she was IUGR, I don't want to skip over this part. They had NICU and respiratory come in just as a precaution because IUGR babies, they come out smaller, so we don't know if they're going to need any support with oxygen or if they're going to have like blood sugar issues or anything like that. So they had NICU and respiratory there just as a precaution, which kind of scared me because if you watched my previous video, my son had a 26-day NICU stay. So I was worried that she was going to have to go to the NICU. But they told me that it was just a precaution. They only are going to take her if they absolutely need to take her. Which obviously if they need to take her, please take her. Please help her. Please do what you need to do. But it doesn't make it any less hard for like a veteran NICU mom. Because obviously you don't want to go through that journey again. So the doctor comes in. He's getting gloved up. My husband's getting gloved up. And I tell them, I'm like, she's coming. Because like I had what's called fetal ejection reflex, which like I'm not pushing at all. I'm just like in the stirrups, just like laid back, chilling. But like I'm not pushing. But you can feel when like, if you're a mom, you know, dads out there, I'm sorry, but like when a child's coming out of you vaginally, you like feel them like kind of slipping down and like going down and out. Especially I did because my epidural wasn't like super strong or like fully working, so I was able to like feel that ejection of her. I know ejection is such a weird word, but like that's the only way to like explain it. Like she kind of just like sunk down and like slipped out, you know. So she was starting to like go down, but I told him, I said, she's coming, y'all. So the doctor like turned and he goes, are you pushing? I was like, I'm not pushing. So like my husband quickly like ran over there, and sure enough, she just like slipped out into his arms, and then he like grabbed her and put her on my chest. And then NICU and respiratory were able to like come over and kind of listen to her on my chest for a minute. And then the doctor was like, you didn't push at all. And I was like, first thing I said when I saw her, I said, you're tiny, because she was small. She was my smallest baby. Obviously, she's IUGR. She was only 5 pounds. And my other children were over 6 pounds. My biggest baby was only 6'7". So I mean, he wasn't like big, but a 5-pound baby compared to a 6'7" baby, you know, I know. 6'7", yeah. My oldest found out that he weighed 6 pounds 7 ounces, so he's been 6'7". Hate it, y'all. But so I said, you're tiny. Then I looked at the nurses and NICU, and I'm like, I didn't push. I didn't push. And they're like, well, that's an easy labor if you don't have to push. And I'm like, yeah, I guess you're right. So then they're like, okay, Mama, we're gonna take her over and look at her and make sure she's good, and if everything's fine, we'll bring her right back to you. So they look at her and they're like, oh, like temperature good, blood pressure is good. I mean, not blood pressure, well, blood pressure is good too, but like blood sugar's good. Like Apgar is good, breathing is good. Like she has no reason to not stay with me. So they bring her over and she's like, okay, Mama, she looks good. We're gonna, because she is like on the smaller side, we're gonna have to like check her blood sugar after or before she eats and like after she eats or something like that, just to make sure that like it's staying up. But so like she's good, you can have her. And that was like the best feeling ever, to know that I got to do that golden hour with her and that skin to skin. And literally that first hour, my husband like looking at me and he's like, can I hold her? I'm like, mine. And he respected that too, because he knew that like with my son, he was in the NICU for 26 days. I only got to hold him on my chest for 10 minutes before they whisked him away. So having that like golden hour of just bliss, being able just to hold her on my chest and just love on her. Oh, another thing with her, she did not come out crying, which freaked respiratory out, freaked NICU out, because the first hour of her life she didn't cry. So like when she first came out, I guess she was like stunned or shocked or whatever when they took her away to go like whatchamacallit, do her vitals and things, and they put like the stethoscope on her, they pricked her to do her blood sugar, like all of that, doing her temperature. Like most babies, like they hate the cold stethoscope. Oh my gosh, I can't say that word. They hate that. They hate the cold like thermometer, things like that, like it makes them mad. But she didn't cry at all. Which respiratory, like she's breathing fine, like we cleaned her mouth out, like she doesn't have anything in there anymore, like she's fine, she just isn't crying, like, but I mean she's fine. So her first hour of life she didn't cry, she just laid on me and I just looked at her and she just looked at me. And then finally when the nurse came back in to make sure she was okay and like to put a diaper on her, that's when she did start fussing and crying and stuff. And I was like, oh, so you can cry, you just didn't want to cry. So my husband and I have a joke now that she is unamused with life, and even to this day, if she has blood work done or she gets shots or anything like that, she doesn't cry with it. Don't know why. She just doesn't. She doesn't really cry at all. She only cries if like something's really wrong with her or she like really like falls down or hurts herself. But other than that, like she is unproblematic. We tell everyone all the time, like even when we take her to the doctor, we're like, she's unamused by everything, by life. Like she came into the world unamused, she's probably gonna go out unamused. So like it's so funny because they're like, oh well, like she's only 3, so like she's gonna cry, and like literally will lay there or sit there and get her blood taken and doesn't cry or anything, and they're like, oh my gosh, she really is unamused. And I'm like, I told you, like first hour of life she didn't cry, so what do you expect? But that is her birth story. She was 5 pounds when she was born. Now she is a sassy little girl who loves dresses, loves dolls, loves getting her nails painted with mom. She is like my little broke BFF. It's something special having kids in general, but especially having a little girl after you have 2 boys. It's like a completely different shift, because I was all like, I knew trucks and dirt and like outside and sports and things like that, and now I'm like shifting my focus to like, oh, do my hair. And she has curly hair too, so like it's been a journey learning her hair. Paint my nails, like can I put chapstick on and lip gloss and things like that. And it's so sweet and so special getting to have a daughter, especially after losing a daughter. It's so special getting to have that, and God is so good. He gives you exactly what you need when you need it. I feel like if I would have had my daughter when I had my son, it would have been like the wrong timing. And I feel like he gave me my son after losing my daughter that we did, when we needed him and when we needed that little boy. And then he blessed us with a daughter because he knew the desires of my heart were to have a daughter. And I'm so blessed to have all of my children, and I'm so blessed to have them at the time of my life that I did, because I feel like they were meant to be during that time. So now, like I said, she is a sassy little 3-year-old. Birthday's in February. And that is the birth story of Miss London. And yeah, if you like this video, please leave me a comment, some engagement, a like, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Thank you.